Alright, so it's been a while and I decided, hey, let's design a character, let's record it, talk about my process in character design. So first off, you see on the left-hand side my reference images and inspo images with my wish list, essentially. So when I'm designing a character, I make a list of things I know I want and things that I do want, but it's okay if they don't make it in. So this is a glam rock tiefling. That was the concept I had coming into this. I thought of it literally yesterday, and then I immediately sat down as soon as I was able and just designed it all in one go. So first thing I do is I take just a profile of the head, a little portrait, and I just go. First draft. Once that first draft is done, I copy it and just start changing features. I already knew kind of the vibe that I wanted. I wanted angular features, I wanted bold makeup, so I had a starting point and a sort of axis to move around. So you see me changing features, and I make it almost as different as possible within my existing idea to the first draft, just to play around and see what happens. And from there, adding hairstyles and stuff, I'll do a few of these, and then I pick and choose which features I like the best from all of them, combine them into one, kind of play with it. So you see me playing with different ear shapes, different nose shapes, different eye shapes. It all kept pretty close with nose shapes. Lips stayed pretty similar too. I know I wanted things angular, so this jawline, cheekbones stayed pretty similar. I wanted, again, glam rock. Hair metal bands were the biggest inspiration for this, so I knew I wanted this kind of chiseled, androgynous look that a lot of rock stars in that genre had. Big hair was another must for this, as you can see in my little list, along with bold makeup, obnoxious colors. Was leaning towards mullet, as you can clearly tell. So I took the one that I liked the most and I started tweaking it, playing around with different features to see what I might like better. I struggled with the eyebrows a little bit. I have a lot of characters with really thick eyebrows. Yeah, just testing different hairstyles on it, taking one from each. I wasn't really happy with any of them, so I decided to take the mullet and change it up a little bit. And you'll see in the end result how a lot of this stuff changes. Oh boy, now that I have the head, you're gonna see me struggle with the horns for so long. I try out approximately 8 billion different styles of horns, with no real rhyme or reason to it. There wasn't really any thought behind what horns I was choosing. It was literally just a matter of aesthetics and what I thought fit the vibe. I tried dual horns, I tried curvy horns, I tried ram horns, I tried the traditional devil horns. Yep, and then I test a bunch of them out all at once. I flip through them to see what I like. I try out more horns. Just really any what way I can do them. Oh, yep, there's more. Yep, okay, Yeah, so I think this is over 10 sets of horns I've tried. A lot of them I looked at and were like, that's very Homestuck. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't for what I was going for, so I kept moving on and I kept changing stuff up. I erased some of it because I wanted the bangs to come out between the horns. Flipping through them again to see which ones I like best. A lot of trial and error. I just made a separate sketch layer for each of them so that way I could turn them off and on just to see what worked best. Those are the ones that I settled on. So next up was shrinking that and then drawing out a little body to essentially be a paper doll for me to design their clothes. So instead of drawing a pose over and over again or drawing different poses to try out, I just made a paper doll to draw over, and I would just have this as a layer underneath and then draw different styles of clothing. Again, I didn't need to try out body shapes very much because I had something in mind. I wanted them to be very boxy and straight, I guess. They're very much not straight, but their body is. Just refine it a little bit, kind of get the shapes that I want. And you can see from the ideas over there that this is a warlock, and I did decide to settle on that, even though that was on my maybes list. And I believe I'm still sticking to the Fae Patron idea. I think a glam rock warlock with a Fae Patron is very fun and cool. Now we're moving on to outfit design, which I struggled with a lot. I consider clothing design to be one of my weaker points when it comes to designing characters, so I play with a lot of different ideas, throw them away, come back to them, try new ones, throw those away, come back to those. There are a few through lines, though, you'll see as I design this. A few ideas that stick, and I just keep putting them in designs, which maybe wasn't the best idea. I think I should have strayed a little bit, but I do like the end result. You'll see that the really deep neckline was something that I really wanted and kept sticking with. You'll see the bell bottoms a lot, and you'll see the chunky platform shoes a lot. The ascot makes a couple appearances in different forms, either tied or loose around the neck like you see here. And coming back to this, it makes me so mad, because I end up going very similar to that second design that you saw me draw, and then I just did a bunch of stuff in between to see what works, but it's trial and error. So even if I went with something that was one of the first ideas, it's still good to try secondary or tertiary ideas, or beyond that. Even if they don't really work, sometimes you think of cool stuff. Another follow-through line that you see is the hip cutouts. I wanted it to be a unitard, which isn't super practical for a D&D character, but I didn't want it to be practical. In a lot of character designs, I do think about utility. In this one, utility was completely out the window, because I knew that this character considered looks over practicality. So if they're on the road and need to pee, they're gonna have to figure it out, that unitard, because fashion is peak here. So I tried really thin, tight to the leg styles, like you see here with the fishnets and the thigh highs, and then I tried really bulky, squared pants. Neither of those were really working for me, but I like the silhouette of the second one. And I put a couple over each other to kind of play with silhouettes and sleeves and everything. So you see me mash two here together and take aspects away and add a couple bits of it. There's the hip cutouts again. I wasn't really set on those. I tried a few different belts and sashes. Poofy sleeves weren't doing it for me silhouette-wise, so I tried the more bell-bottom cone shape to follow through with the legs. Then I got rid of that. I tried that. I tried the lacing in the front like you see in a lot of medieval trousers. Wasn't a fan. Apparently I didn't like the pointy shoulder pads. Those come back later. I also really wanted to make fringes happen. That's something you see a lot in this design, is I kept adding fringes to everything, and I just couldn't. Yep, there's more fringes. I just could not figure out a way to put fringes in there that made it seem natural or part of the design and didn't make part of it too busy. So the fringes unfortunately did not make it into the final design. I really wanted them, man. You see that one on the tail stay for so long. I had gloves because I felt like the arms weren't full enough. Everything else had something going on and the arms did not. And if I wasn't going to have sleeves, I wanted to have gloves. It also adds to the rocker aesthetic, I think. Yep, there's the ascot again. And the shoulder pads are back. I think this is the design that I ended up going for this sketch. I'll show you later the actual reference sheet that I created for this character, and I changed quite a bit of it. Some things stayed. I changed A few things, though. I think the vest goes away and changes into something else. The fringes also don't stay. So now I come back to the portrait, and I'm gonna start doing little color thumbnails just to figure out what kind of colors I like the best. So I take this and I flat in colors for the skin and the hair, the makeup and the eyes, that sort of thing. So that way, since that's going to be the focus of the character, I can zoom out and figure out what colors are going to work with that when it comes to the clothes. Right away I gravitated towards pink. I wanted bright, obnoxious neon colors for that kind of glam rock look, especially lean toward pink. But I try out a bunch of different ones. I was really having a hard time with these colors as well. And I spent a long time using the hue shift tool to change everything and being like, what does it look like if the hair is this color and the skin is this color? What about this? What about, yep, there it goes. What about seafoam green? That sort of thing. So I play with a bunch of different ideas, trying different makeup colors, eye colors, tried gradients on the horns, tried gradients on the hair, hue shifting the makeup. I think the hardest part was finding a triad of colors that I wanted for the eyes, the hair, and the skin, and then trying to figure out what I wanted for the makeup as well, if I wanted repeating colors or if I wanted something else, but having to make everything match at least a little bit. Because as much as I love mismatchy colors, especially in this kind of glam rock, edgy style where colors didn't necessarily match, it looked a little crazy when I didn't make it match, and not the kind of crazy I wanted. So you can see I start trying different makeup styles. That kind of from lid to brow look wasn't doing it for me, and I wanted something more graphic, I guess. Now we're going all purple with that splash of blue. I really just threw everything down on the canvas, and I did these on all separate layers too, so you see me there flicking through all of them to try and decide which one I thought looked the best. And eventually I settle on this one. I kind of play around with a little bit more, adding a little gradient. And I look at them all again to see if I really like that one the best. Then I bring the full body back in and start flatting in the colors for that as well. I put this layer of gray underneath so that way everything is contained. Even though this is a little bit messy and it's supposed to be, I wanted to make sure all the colors stayed where I wanted them to go. I ended up shifting the pink a little less from purple and more to red to go with the hair a little bit more. And I wanted to bring that bright blue and that bright yellow into the design a little bit more, as well as the gradient on the hair. So you see me trying to figure out where to accent that yellow and that bright blue without it being too insane. I don't think I actually decide to put that bright blue anywhere else. I think it just stays in the eyes as an accent color. Oh, yeah, and then I decide, oh, what if magical tattoo? Because again, the arms were looking a little bit empty for me. I don't end up sticking with any of the ideas I do for this magic tattoo, but they do get a tattoo in the end. And you'll see that in the final reference sheet that I made, which is right here. So I added some piercings to the tail, the bell bottoms are back, obviously. Yep, you see I added a jacket, and then an idea without a jacket. A couple close-ups, show the teeth and the forked tongue. I decided on the name Blithe for them. I thought it was fun, it sounds kind of Rockstar-y. That is the final design process for my glam rock tiefling. They were really fun to design, and it was really fun to look back on this process sped up, not dredging through hours of the design process, and seeing what things I liked, looking back on it, and what things I wish I had kept, and maybe in future designs what I want to do. Yeah, this is super fun. Thank you for watching.